비트코인, 지금이 폭발 직전이다. 충격적인 진실을 말씀드리겠습니다. 여러분의 자산이 지금 멈춰 있는 건 실패가 아닙니다. 오히려 거대한 폭발을 위한 계산된 침묵입니다. 세계적인 매크로 전문가 라울 팔이 충격적인 예측을 내놨습니다. 비트코인이 연말까지 최소 60% 이상 폭등한다. 역사는 반복됩니다. 작년 11월 7일을 기억하십니까? 비트코인이 단 2달 만에 62% 폭등했습니다. 이더리움 74%, 솔라나는 무려 305%, 재작년도 마찬가지였습니다. 11월까지 아무 일도 없다가 갑자기 폭발했죠. 지금 정확히 그 시점입니다. 현재 날짜를 보십시오. 11월 7일, 역사적으로 암호화폐가 폭발을 시작했던 바로 그날입니다. 왜 지금까지 멈춰 있었을까요? 답은 간단합니다. 유동성이 고의로 차단됐기 때문입니다. 미국 정부가 1조 달러를 금고에 가둬놨습니다. 연준은 돈을 계속 회수했고요. 이중 압박으로 시장이 질식 상태였던 겁니다. 하지만 모든 게 바뀌고 있습니다. 연준이 드디어 방향을 틀었습니다. 통화 공급을 늘리겠다. 정부는 곧 2,500억 달러를 시장에 풀어야 합니다. 단 몇 주 안에 말이죠. 라울 팔의 핵심 통찰, 글로벌 유동성이 비트코인 가격의 90%를 결정한다. 유동성이 늘면 비트코인이 오르고 줄면 떨어집니다. 단순하지만 강력한 법칙입니다. 바나나 존이 옵니다. 라울 팔이 말하는 바나나 존. 극단적 성장기를 아십니까? 지연됐을 뿐 취소된 게 아닙니다. 연말까지 비트코인 10만 달러는 확실히 지킬 것, 그리고 훨씬 더 높이 갈 것. 시장은 항상 이렇습니다. 가장 절망적일 때 가장 큰 기회가 옵니다. 모두가 포기할 때 폭발이 시작됩니다. 지금 준비하지 않으면 작년처럼, 재작년처럼 또다시 기회를 놓칩니다. 11월 폭등장의 역사는 이미 2번 반복됐습니다. 세 번째가 바로 지금입니다. 마지막 질문. 정부가 2,500억 달러를 풀고 연준이 돈을 찍어내기 시작하면 무슨 일이 일어날까요? 답은 이미 나와 있습니다. 역사를 보십시오.
How quickly do we see risk assets responding to more liquidity in the system? Like, is this can we be excited about December, or is this a 2026 thing?
No, generally speaking, the market will front run this. So we're still trying to decide when the government's going to reopen. My best guess is we will have full clarity by the end of next week. Now, whether they agree something soon, but the probabilities, the market will start finding traction. And then as it comes, it'll then start accelerating from it.
So you think we're going to hold 100K?
Yeah, and I think we will end the year a lot higher. Don't forget, last year, we didn't start rallying till November 7th. And then we did 64% from then. So, nobody believes we can have
This is what we
things.
needed. This is what we needed.
No, I knew we were going to get this from him, Josh. I knew. This is end the week, on a positive note here. I mean, I'm looking at the poly market right now, and it looks like smart money's on. This not happening next week. It's sort of 57% is after November 16th. But I do think we have. I mean, the airlines are being disruptive.
That's
or at least
right.
That's the threat, and I feel like those are this is the thing. Like the things that we need to go like triangulate to try to make a sense of where this world is going is just like expanding crazily.
Once you see that there's only one dominant factor, it actually is easier because then you can strip out all of the noise, all the stuff people tell you about. It's tariffs, it's this, it's geopolitics. It's none of it. It's all one factor, 90% of it.
Where does your conviction in that? Because I think there is others who would say that statement is incorrect, right? That you're missing a lot from it.
Yeah, so we produced a body of work over the last 3 or 4 years called the Everything Code, where we discovered that basically the entire system was about the rolling of debts. And so this body of work is, I don't know, if I were to lay it out, it's probably 300 or 400 pages and maybe 1,000 charts that we have in a database to show all of this. It's actually all come from demographics. It's a really big picture, and it zooms down to, you can get it down to, you know, the next few months. And so we've definitely done more work at Global Macro Investor in this kind of nexus of macro and crypto than anybody else in the world. And it has played out really well over time. And I think it will continue to play out. Obviously, nothing is perfect. There's always wiggles. There's always things that change, like the shutdown is now the longest shutdown ever. You don't expect that. But when it comes, you kind of know what it's about and why it's stalling things. And again, to go back to the hopium zone, which is the most important part for all of us on a Friday, if I look at last year, from November, Bitcoin rallied 62%, ETH 74%, Sol 74%, SUI 235%. The previous year, we had the same factor. All year, we did nothing, exploded the end of the year. Bitcoin 37%, ETH 40%, Solana 305, SUI 128. So we're 7th of November. This is where it started last time. Who knows? But, you know, from here, we should be significantly higher.
I'm interested in where you think we are in your exponential age thesis. I don't know exactly when you laid it out. I feel like it's been out for a while. Maybe can you just give us a quick TLDR for people who don't know what that is? And then curious for you to kind of talk about where you think we are in it.
Yeah, so the exponential age thesis plays into all of this, right? The answer to this mess of demographics where global growth keeps falling because we've got aging populations, productivity goes down because old people are less productive, and debt growth is the other driver, and we reached that peak 2008. So how are we going to solve this? We're going to solve this by changing that population number by the robots and the AI. So that is coming, but that's only just started. So we've still got this everything code cycle to continue to play out, which is we have to refinance these debts because the debts are too big versus trend rate of GDP growth, i.e. there's not enough taxes to pay for it. So what they do is debase the currency to kind of make it go away. And they're doing that until the robots and the AI kick in. And we've heard that from Scott Bessent. We've heard it from Donald Trump. We've heard it from Elon Musk. It's like productivity has to pick up. And that's what it's going to come from. So that happens. My guess is we start to get a bizarre world where this starts to really affect economics by about 2030, 2032. Suddenly we'll see GDP growth accelerating, but unemployment might rise. We'll see AI agents as better investors than us. What does it mean for financial markets for us? We get to a point that I call the economic singularity. We have kind of the whole economic system as we know it breaks, and we have to develop a new one because somehow we need to tax the robots and the AI. How the hell do you do that? You know, people talk about universal basic income, but we need to solve who do we tax? Where do we get that money from? All of these issues. And then how do we deal with the fact, and this is the bigger thing, is people don't really realize is we're arguing over, do we have AGI or not? Artificial generalized intelligence. We currently have AI that is as smart as a PhD in every subject known to humanity. Right, so this is a polymath that's smarter than anybody on Earth. The next phase, because the intelligence of these models keeps like doubling every year, is we go from an IQ of like 150 to an IQ of 300. We have now replaced ourselves with the apex intelligence. The history of humanity, we have always been apex intelligence. And I have a thesis behind all of this that the fundamental purpose of the universe is essentially to convert units of energy into units of intelligence. And that's the whole evolutionary process. And what we've just created is a new superintelligence. And so we're not the apex creatures. So what does that mean for economies? What does it mean for us? What does it mean for our role in it? I'm not a doomer. I don't think this is the end. I think we just do things differently, which is about being human. What can we do that the AI can't? We're humans. What do we like?
This is why I say please and thank you every time I ask ChatGPT to do something for me, because I want the data set that it has out there just to think very kindly of me. This is my alignment protectionism here. I'm curious, have you read the book Accelerando by any chance? Are you a sci-fi guy at all?
No.
Okay, highly recommended just because of, I think I remember being early university and speaking to a guy who was at that time using AI to design chips for Qualcomm, et cetera. And I said, how do you sort of stay ahead of the future? And he's like, science fiction, baby, science fiction. And so I've always had a love for that. And Accelerando is a book written 20 plus years ago that feels like it could have been written today talking about tomorrow. And so it's a very interesting one for folks listening. Highly recommend it. It is.
There's a thesis around all of this, which is called hyperstition, which is that hyperstition is the manifesting of reality via the stories we tell ourselves. And science fiction has proven this out time and time and time again. Another classic version of hyperstition is, I don't know if you've ever seen the David Bowie film, The Man Who Fell to Earth. It's basically the story of Elon Musk. And the eeriness of that story is extraordinary. And there's hyperstition is everywhere. And there's even now a prediction market based on hyperstition.
Really?
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Huh.
I mean, prediction markets are almost just a very literal implementation of hyperstition.
That's right. So, so there's something to that. It's one of the weird powers of the universe is this hyperstition thing.
I'm curious. I think the other big topic that's coming around related to what we talked about here is this idea that AI is in a bubble. You and I are both old enough to have experienced multiple bubbles in the past. There are people saying this time is different. There are people saying, oh no, we are doomed again. I'm curious how you are sort of interpreting where we're at in the build out of AI and the potential implications on financial markets.
Okay, when you go back to the very top level, this is the greatest invention humanity has ever made. And it's maybe the last invention humanity will ever make. It is so important because it leads to ASI, which is the godlike superpower, that the forces behind it are so extraordinary that it cannot be stopped. And no government, the US nor China, can allow that to happen. So whatever anybody thinks about a bubble, will prices go up too much for a bit? Yes. Will it stop? No. Will it accelerate? Yes, it has to, because the game is too big. And so if that is the case, then I know that quote from Sam Altman's CFO about, would they bail them out? No, they wouldn't bail out one, but they would bail out all of them. There's no way. So yes, you can have a bust. Of course, you'll have excess exuberance in share prices and stuff like that. But the reality is the technology is too important for all of humanity to not. So my working hypothesis is we will end this as we go into the economic singularity when we don't even know what financial markets are anymore. What's a company? How does this all work? By the time we get to that, 2030, 2032, that will probably be the biggest bubble we've ever seen, because every single investor is going to throw in the towel to this mega trend because they realize it's backstopped by governments. It's all the cash flows of the largest corporations on earth. It's all of the density of talent all go into one thing. So that bubble is going to be massive, and we haven't even started yet.
I mean, how are you thinking about the right kind of broad exposure to have to each of these categories? If you think about Bitcoin, maybe long tail risk assets, AI stocks, long tail stock market, like where are you placing your bets?
So it's actually not easy to bet on it cleanly outside of NVIDIA, and NVIDIA's dominance, like Bitcoin dominance over time, has to fall. So we need to see other players coming in. So where's the cleanest bet? Crypto's one of them. Why? Because in the interim, we have to debase currency. And also, agents will use crypto rails. So we kind of know where this is going. So that makes it a very easy bet. It's also been the fastest adoption of any technology or financialized technology the world's ever seen, because AI you can't directly invest in so easily. The other thing is I try and think where the world will go. So we can make plenty of money up into that economic singularity, whether it's out of crypto, buying tech stocks, number will go up over time. There will be a period where everything corrects, NASDAQ corrects 30%, but that's kind of noise within the overall trend. But what I'm thinking about is, what about the other side of this? What has value? Now, I think crypto still has value in that because of its use cases and how it evolves. Things like digital ID become more important. That uses blockchain rails. But I also think about the value of digital art. Because in a world where you're competing in financial markets with AGI, you have no chance. So what assets can you hold? Well, you want scarcity. So can it be a house? Yes, but houses have this demographic issues and other issues. We also have the movement out of cities into places. We have remote work, so we can move globally. But when I look at it, digital art is, if we're going to go from a $4 trillion asset class today in crypto to 100 trillion by, let's say, 2032, that's going to create 97 trillion of wealth. Let's halve that because I'm an idiot. So you still create $46 trillion of wealth. We'll have made it in crypto. So digital assets and digital scarcity is something that we all understand. And the culturally relevant marker stones of that are NFTs. So I've been hoarding and buying as many as possible for this thesis, because I know in the future, the world is more digital than today. And these artifacts, the memetics of today, the cultural stories, are going to be incredibly valuable in the future.
We see the guitar and the digital art behind you.
Looks like X copy. I can only see a sliver, but
it's an X copy. Like it's X copy mortal.
Great piece.
But the other way to think about it is, okay, what is the equal and opposite offset of us living in this incredibly digital world where we've got drones delivering our food, our cars drive ourselves? I mean, this is all a future within 3 years, 2 years, you know, with this super intelligence. The equal and opposite offset is nature. Nature trades at a premium. Human experiences, sporting events, live music events, all of these things where humans get together is a thing that humans do. And we know this to be true because no human has beaten a computer at chess in the last 30 years. Yet chess is more popular than it's ever been. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Why? I don't know. Humans like seeing humans compete against humans. And it's the same with soccer teams, NFL teams, basketball teams. They're all rocketing up in value. Why? It's a human experience. The machines can't play a part in it. That's really interesting. When you see the signal, why is Taylor Swift's economy $1 billion? Same thing.
Yeah, interesting.